What up? It's HPTCG's twin brother, and I got you a PRB Smoker. Is it viable? Is it a completely different deck? How good is it into the meta? We're going to talk about all that right now. Alright, so this is a very limited sample size of games. I played about 25 games on the Rank Simulator, and I found that this deck is good mostly, I believe, into Bonnie, Rayleigh, GP, and BY. The reason it's good into Bonnie is because Bonnie has a hard time dealing with Mulgun, and also not only the constant removal that Smoker has, with at least with this variant of the build, but they can't put down any of their chump blockers because we have the cards like Kobe, and then also worst of all, we have ways to rest their Dawn that make it really hard for them to be able to consistently access their leader effect unless they have the 3-cost Bonnie, which we'll do our best to get rid of whenever it comes out by either resting it or whatever, make it so it doesn't matter. We go wide and the one card that they rest doesn't exactly matter. Rayleigh has a really hard time dealing with Kobe because especially if Smoker goes second against Rayleigh and puts down the 4-cost Kobe, it's a 7k body that you're gonna have a hard time swinging into. And of course you can mulgun it, but the problem is if you mulgun that character before you establish bodies, then you're losing so much tempo. Because if you for whatever reason just like boost a character to 6k and then mulgun on your, let's say, your 5-Dawn turn, if we go, okay, kill a character that you turn sideways, that you obviously boosted to 6k with the mulgun, and then play Smoker plus Tashigi or Smoker plus something, then you just lose. Or if we play another Kobe and then a 3-cost Sanji or whatever, you just lose. Like, you lose so much tempo early on with against Rayleigh if they mulgun it, and if they don't mulgun it, then you're killing most of their board anyway. And you can also in turn mulgun their Luffy and then pop whatever they play off the Luffy. It's just really strong. GP, same thing. You mulgun their Sanji puddings. Of course, you are going to be able to test the ratios in a little bit. I'll talk about that later. And then BY is just really strong at building a board and then being able to, especially now they're not chaining the un-KOable Sabos, making it so that you can KO their board with your mulgun, and also you can DMG and Hody and do all this stuff and just be very aggressive when you need to be and bait cards out of their hand by turning cards sideways, and it's just really strong. Unfavored, Zoro seems to be the most unfavored of all of them, because Zoro just keeps punching into your characters that you play, and it keeps punching into your life, so you have just a really hard time deciding whether to save your characters or not. And you are only a 4-life leader, and even though we do play a lot of counter, they do play, obviously DMG, some of them play Hody, so it is a little scary going down to 0 life against this deck, or even going down to 1 life, and because they can just end the game before you're ready. And of course you can restand a bunch of Dawn for free, but you want to use that Dawn to play characters. So I think Zoro's the hardest matchup. I do think that we can beat GP, but the problem is this deck doesn't really play a lot of top end, so if they do have the early removal and we don't have the protection, like if they have God Thread, if they have the Mihawks, it is kind of tough for us to maintain having consistent pressure against Luffy with this variant of the build. And then Teach is interesting because Teach used to be very free for the RG Smoker deck, but that was because we played a lot more aggressive back in the day, and that's why I think it was better into Teach plus Luffy with the aggressive variant, because we were able to kind of rush them down before they were able to stabilize. This is a much more control varianted version, and it's better at dealing with like low to the ground characters, whereas Luffy doesn't really play low to the ground characters anymore, and then Teach pretty much plays like a heavy removal package and shuts off your on plays. And believe it or not, that does kind of affect things with like Mihawk and the secret Bonnie and things like that. So with that being said, let's get to the profile. Alright guys, so this is going to play a lot different than the pre-PRB 02 Smoker. It's a lot more control-y, and it's much better at clearing things than in the past. And the best part about it is I really believe that this Kobe and this Mihawk kind of changed the entire way that this deck plays. And the reason being is we're able to play much more defensive because we're able to keep drawing cards even if we do not pop something with the Kobe effect. And then the Mihawk allows us to restand a bunch of Dawn, play defensive, and allows us to honestly play with just like a ton of defense. It plays with defense and offense, because realistically we can play Mihawk, we can play this Bonnie, establish 2 blockers, draw 2 cards, trash 1, and then we also have things like Spiderweb, we have like this event, and we have a lot of counter. It's just a really nice the way it plays. I am only playing 2 searchers. I'm deciding to play the Peacock because I really want to search for this Kobe. I really want to search for things like Tashigi. You can also search for things like Smoker. You can also search for X-Drake. You can search for just a lot of counter, and then also its on play or its activate main is pretty nice when you're going for game. You can just get basically an extra Dawn back, which is just really nice. I mean, I think there is like pretty much no flaw with this card right here. Also, what we have going on is we have Sanji. This card is not searchable anymore, but it's totally fine. We have 4 Kobe, 2 of the Law. This card comes up sometimes in certain matchups, doesn't come up too much in the others. And then we have Perona, which searches for pretty much the entire deck. So, you know, we have Mihawk, we have Smoker, we have the X-Drake, we have this Mihawk, and then it also lets us search for our events with the 0 cost event, the 2 Spiderweb, and then the 2 Dead Men's games. So we're playing 2 Hody, we're playing 2 DMG. DMG basically does the job of Hody with just a little bit less Dawn. It also moonlights as a counter, which is really nice. I do think that this deck is a lot less. It's not as good into the UP and GP decks as it once was, because this deck used to play things like Carrot, it used to play things like the Rush Luffy, and it was just way more aggressive. This isn't as aggressive, it's more control based. There are ways, depending on how the meta shapes out, that you can obviously just revert this back to a more aggressive type of deck, but this one I do believe is better into Zoro and Rayleigh than it used to be. I'm still not convinced it's great into Zoro, but I do think it's actually pretty decent into Rayleigh. It's good into Bonnie, and it's much worse into decks like Blackbeard, unfortunately. So with that being said, let's go into the games. All right, so let's check out this game right here. We put it in a little bit of a speed boost right here. So we have 1.4 speed. We decide to go second against, or I'm sorry, we are going first against this deck. I believe we should go first. I still am doing testing with this deck. I'm not entirely sure. I grabbed the double Smoker here because I wanted to apply as much pressure as possible. I really want to go as wide as I can against GP, and I think this is just the best way to do it. I'm going to go 5 into him, and then I'm going to go another 5 into him. Yep, right here. I don't know why I thought I had the Sanji right there. Or I'm sorry, I checked to see if I could play the Mihawk, play Mihawk and then play Kobe off the Mihawk, but he's not a strike character, so I couldn't do that, unfortunately. I tried to do some saucy stuff, so I ended up going double 5 here, and then I take his 5 right here, which is nice. Then I go Smoker. Smoker's going to allow me to restand 3 Dawn, and I believe I'm going to go 7 into him because he is a 6k leader or a 5k leader, and then I'm gonna go ahead and play the Perona. Now if he was an 8k leader, I would have just swung 8 into him because I wanted to force cards out of hand. Unfortunately, he did have the Bagua here, so he's able to ramp into the Taro, which is pretty good, but then he only goes Taro into the Zoro Joro, which is a great sign for me. So I'm going to go ahead and capitalize this as much as I can. The way it's looking right now, he has 2 life. He has about 7 cards in hand, I want to say, maybe 8. I believe I am going to counter this because why not? He has 8 cards in hand, it looks like. 3, 6, 8, yep. So I'm going to play some Smoker. I'm going to play Smoker. I'm going to restand. I'm going to keep 2 Dawn up for the event. And then I'm going to swing 8, force out the DMG, and then I'm going to swing 7. The reason I'm swinging 8 first is because I have the Banish, and the Banish is obviously more important. And then I'm going to go ahead and swing 7, and he takes it, which is definitely interesting. He starts out with another Zoro Joro, so it's really unfortunate that this is happening to Borges TCG right here, because, I mean, this deck is the most consistent deck in the game now. I mean, they play 12 searchers between the 2 Namis and then the When You're at Sea, and then with the Zoro Joro. It's shocking that you wouldn't find Sanji Pudding, and he's using his leader effect without Sanji Pudding, which is just so devastating. I'm going to go ahead and take this hit right here because I want to have as much counter as possible to protect my Smoker if he decides to go into it right here. I believe I do use my effect here. Yep, my event, and I stay at 2 life, and I try to stay relatively healthy right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play, I believe, the Sanji first to restand all my Dawn because I get it for free. And then I'm just going to swing 8 into his leader. Do I swing 8? I think I start with an 8 to gather some information, see what he's going to do. And he doesn't have a lot of Dawn, so I'm not really too concerned, even though I don't have a lot of counter in my hand. He gave me 2k, 1k, so I swing another 8 right here. No, I swing 9. Swing 9 because I want him to use the Giant if he has it. And he gives me the DMG, and then he gives me a 2K. So I'm like, okay, now I'm just gonna go another 9 into the Zoro. And the reason I'm swinging into Zoro is because he can't kill me no matter what, and my characters are so tall, and he has such little Dawn that it's very unlikely that he has enough to actually attack into my characters to kill them. And then I know if my characters survive, then I just automatically kill him on the following turn anyway. So that's why I attack into a Zoro. He does decide to save it though, which is pretty interesting. And unfortunately, I am a little scared of him just like mathing me out, so I do give him the 2 1s right here. If I were him though, I would probably just go for game. Like, I don't know why he went into the smoker right here. Like, I probably would have just swung 6 into life, and then I would have had to give him the 2 1s, and then swing into my smokers at that point. But now I think I automatically win from this position right here. I'm gonna swing 6 first to bait him as many cards out of his hand as possible. Yep, because I know if he takes this, he's probably dead either way. He giants out of the 6. So now I go 10 here, see if he does it, see if he counters out. And then I believe he giants out of this one too. Yep, he giants out of this one. And I was like, oh shit, am I about to lose this? So I put the Perona, and then I was like, wait a second, before I attack, let me put the Banish Smoker out. And I swing 7, and luckily I win that. It was actually really close. Alright guys, so now we got BY, which is another favorite matchup for us, I believe. I think this is like, of all of them, I think the most favored matchup for us. We have, let's see, Sanji. Obviously that's just our turn 1 play. We're not going to attack into his life just yet, because I want us to build a board before we start attacking. Sorry, there's jets going around. I live near an Air Force base. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and play the Smoker here. And then I'm going to play the Tashigi with the Smoker. And now I'm attacking because I can actually threaten some big damage on the following turn. And now my Smoker is also protected by Tashigi, so he can't Zeus me. So he's going to swing 6 into leader right here. I believe I take the... Oh, shit. I'm surprised I actually do take this. Surprised I didn't just counter that. But he ends up just going Rocket Luffy popping the Tashigi. And I was like, whoa, big mistake here. Because I'm about to restand 3 Dawn. And I'm going to swing 7, see if he takes it. Nope. So now I'm going to swing another 7. Because if he takes this, I'm swinging 9 and then 6, which is a lot of cards out of hand. So I'm going to swing 7 first, see if he wants to take it. Now I'm going to swing 5, because if he takes this, he's taking a 10. And he doesn't want to counter out of that one right there. So then, because he counters out of that one, I just leave it be. I leave the Hody there and don't give him his last life to put him at 0. And I want to force him to use a 2K and a card from his hand to be able to go down to 0. But my Hody is a very viable attacker, which is really nice. He ends up only having enough Dawn, most likely, to be a 8K leader or a 7K leader, unless he does play the Ace. Let's see what he does here. He plays the Ace plus the other Ace, so he probably is going to be a 9K leader right here. But I don't know why he decided to do that, because I think I just straight up lethal him if he goes to 0 blockers. So I'm curious as to why he did that right there. Maybe he doesn't play the other ace. I think he realizes I lethal him if he goes down to 0 cards, because I just go 18 into his face. And he only has 5 cards, so that'd be 11, 13, 15, 17. Well, technically it's not guaranteed lethal, but it's pretty much guaranteed lethal. So I swing 9 here to do a load on commitment, see if he wants to take it. He gives me 2K, 1K. So now I'm like, okay, maybe I play a little bit more defensive here. I'm definitely not going to play Hody. I probably just play like, maybe Mulgun plus Bonnie, maybe? I don't remember. If I'm looking at my... Yeah, I think I definitely Mulgun here because I want to stay a little bit safer. Yeah, and then I restand 2 Dawn. I do think I play the Bonnie at this point. Yep, I play the Bonnie. I probably trash the Law because the Law is like not super valuable, and I could Hody the blocker. And I just keep 2 Dawn up too for the event, the Jurassic event. And I'm pretty much in a position where he probably can't survive on the following turn, and he definitely can't kill me. I have too much counter. I have 4 2Ks. I have the event, and I have 2 1Ks, as well as a life, a blocker, and Hody. So he's just in a position where I'm going to rest his board and just keep swinging into him over and over and over again. And I have mathematical lethal after this, which is obviously pretty good. I like getting bounty. I like getting berries on this game. Feels pretty strong. So he's going to go ahead and play the Sabo. Hard play the Sabo, it looks like. Pitching 2 dead cards. He only has 3 cards in hand. He has to pitch 1 for his leader effect. And he goes down to 1 card in hand. He plays the Ace here. And Then he's going to swing 8 into leader. I think I'm probably just going to go ahead and 2k out of this. Or maybe I just take it because I know it's game over anyway. Doesn't matter. Basically, I'm going to rest his 2 guys. Yeah, there's the event right there. Perfect. I'm going to rest his 2 guys. Or his blocker. Then I'm going to be able to restand 2 Dawn. I'm going to be able to go 9, 9, and then 9. And then that is the game, folks. That is the game. So we have our last game against Kalgara. We actually ended up winning this game, which I was kind of surprised about. I felt like Kalgara would be too aggro for us to be able to control the board, but maybe he just started out really slow. I'm not entirely sure. But we do have the double Piranha Searcher, which is kind of nice. I want to pick up the Mihawk here. I shouldn't be. Yeah, I was gonna say I want to pick up the Mihawk because I want to have some late game options as well as some protection to survive in the later parts of the game. I considered picking up the Spiderweb there, but I wanted a little bit of a better like mid game play. Obviously, the Banish is really good into a yellow leader because they do play triggers. But unfortunately, I did just pick up my second Smoker, which I'm not a huge fan of right here. I'm gonna go ahead and boost my Sanji up to 7k so I can have a Dawn up for my event. And that way I can avoid some pressure early on. And he does trigger the Earth Won't Lose, or whatever the fuck this shit's called. And I think he like draws 2 trashes one, I think. I think that's the effect. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't played Kalgara in a little while. And the way that I'm looking at the board state here is if I can just survive into the late game with my double Smokers, I can go Mihawk, restand. I can go a Smoker, and then I can go Mihawk into Smoker and just restand some Dawn. Luckily, I did this too, by the way. Luckily, I saved Dawn up for the event. Because then he's going to swing 5. He's going to go ahead and play the Kalgara, and then I'm going to go ahead and give him the 1k counter Law. The Law hasn't really come up at all. Honestly, Law, you could probably cut it, I would say, for the most part. In this position right here, I'm able to actually play the Smoker plus the Mulgun, which is a huge fucking tempo part on my part. I swing 6 into the Holy, and he lets it go, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're super mega ultra cooked. So I swing 5 into him. I want to give him as little information as possible, and then I go ahead and pop the Kalgara, and he's just so far behind. He's so far behind now because on the following turn, I'm just going to go probably Mihawk. He's going to swing into the Sanji, give me a card, and now I can go Mihawk, restand Dawn, and then play the Smoker. And I just have double banish like 7Ks on my turn and 8Ks on their turn. It's just so fucking strong. And I restand 3 Dawn. It's absolutely insane. And then I can swing 5, 7, and then also have the Spiderweb up too, which is I believe is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with this 7 into his life, see what he wants to give me. 2K, 1K. And I go, okay, you want to give me 3 cards? That's totally fine. Take that right there, play the Smoker, and just pass. Now I have a 2K, I have a blocker, I have the Spiderweb to restand the blocker. It's just so disgusting, bro. This shit is so nasty. I probably do take 1 hit, though, here, because I want to be at 2 life. I like being at 2 life. On Smoker, it gives me some cards in hand, it gives me some options, and then I can just block and counter the rest. So that's probably what I'm going to do. Let's see what he decides to do here. I think he takes forever, so I'm going to go ahead and skip forward. All right, so he swings 6 into my leader. I go ahead and I probably take this. Yeah, I was going to say I want to take the hit because I just like having the cards. I like having the options. Even though I did have Hody in hand, I'm going to go ahead and just block this. Why not? Get the free block. He's going to swing 8 here thinking I have like a fucking DMG or something, but I just restand with the Spiderweb. It's so gross, man. It's so gross. Technically, I could have blocked everything. I could have blocked. Oh, no, actually, that's probably fine. And then I think I just go for lethal here straight up. I don't have to go for lethal, and I think I open myself up to obviously playing for the later game because I can also play Bonnie. That's why I didn't use Smoker's effect here, because if he doesn't take this life, if he doesn't open himself up to lethal, then I'm going to play the Bonnie and then restand it 2 Dawn after the fact, just in case. But he gives me 2 or 3 1Ks here, so I was like, he's probably just dead on this front, so I'm gonna swing 5 here, see if he wants to give me another 1K. The reason I swing 5 is I still want to play the Bonnie just in case he opens himself up to lethal. I'm gonna swing 8, and now obviously I have enough to be able to just straight up go for game, because he only has 4 cards in hand, and I can restand a Dawn on the Smoker now, and I can swing for big numbers, and that is the game.